So here we are. We've
Yeah.
documented our final build, right?
Mhm.
So what was the first thing we had to do?
We had to mark the center.
Yeah, because if we didn't get it in the middle, it wouldn't spin true. It would wobble around and
Yeah, the
stuff.
wobble, and it could affect the results.
Right. So if you need to do this, and eventually some you will, then there's some good YouTube videos on how to do it. But essentially, you can just draw a line across any 2 points, and then mark the center and make a perpendicular line going up. And you do that 2 times,
Mhm.
right? And you get the center where they intersect.
Yeah.
And then you can do it more and more times to get greater accuracy.
Mhm.
I think we ended up doing it about 4 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did it 4 times.
And we used pencil, right?
Mhm.
So it would be easy to get off later.
Mhm.
Wouldn't want it to look messy. So
Yeah.
so next, now that we had the center, we drilled a hole for 8 millimeters in it.
Mhm.
We used Windex
Yep.
to get the
Even though
pencil
we
off.
could erase it.
Yeah, but the Windex worked pretty well. So what the next thing that we did was test the spray paint that was supposed to be for whiteboards.
Mhm.
And it's good that we tested it because what happened?
You can't erase it.
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing. We thought maybe electrostatic thing with the aluminum or
Well, you
something
thought
to
that.
go on it, but it's on the back.
Mhm.
So then, what are these lines made of? They're like these special.
Yeah, it's like this tape, and what you can do. And so what we did is we found the exact center. And the last time on our prototype,
Yep.
what ended up happening is we when we drilled the hole, what happened is the um the tape kind of jammed up our like axle.
Yeah. So we're cutting it here so that we could kind of flip the little ends up underneath to
So
kind of get it out of
it
the
doesn't
way.
affect anything.
Right. Exactly. So we decided we were going to use 8 spaces because we wanted a power of two.
Hmm.
2, 4, 6, 8, or 16, but 16 was too much. So 8 was the closest to 10, which is what we originally kind of guessed. That's maybe how many meals we wanted, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll put it together.
I need a couple of nuts. At least 2 lock washers. And at least 2 nuts. Right? So next, we needed to build the axle.
Yep.
And we actually did another prototype that we didn't document before.
Yep.
That was real similar to this.
Except that we used only things that we had. Like we used a bearing from one of my fidget spinners.
Mm-hmm.
We had this rubber O-ring laying around that we used.
Yeah. Because we wanted to get started before all of
for
our
like
materials
the actual
came.
disc.
Yeah.
For the actual disc, like we got like cookies
Mhm.
with chocolates, I think.
Right.
And they have nuts, so I couldn't eat them. But
Yeah.
but we used the lid as a as like a wheel.
Yep, that's right. So, we just installed this thing. We used the lock washers.
Yep.
Because we didn't want it to come loose. So that worked out pretty well for us.
Pretty true.
Pretty true. Now here's our board. So we're just gonna pop that into there. Measured it. We measured it twice, right?
Measure twice, cut once.
There you go. So then, it's pretty straightforward. The rest of it, we, cut it to length. We used a hole saw.
We also had a kind of problem. But the drill press, it was set to like the actual plate before you could clamp your wood or metal, right?
All right, so use the rasp. Yeah, that's right.
Drilling.
Up and down, up and down. Try to be straight up and down. Right. Okay, let's try it. Stop. A little bit of belt sander. Always be careful. It's getting closer. Pretty close. Here, let me do that. little bit. Yeah, we might edit that out. Um, so you see here, this is a trick that you can use these magnets. If you don't secure them to something like metallic that's laying around,
Yep.
they'll go flying
And could
and
hit stuff.
they'll break, they'll hurt you. So you
Damage
just want to be
things.
careful with them. So yeah, when we installed the magnets, we were almost done. We used gaffer's tape, right?
Hmm.
Seemed like that stuff was pretty strong, and it didn't seem like we needed to do anything else. And then here's our final product. Um, so it spins really true. It lands in the right spot every time, right in the middle.
Hmm.
And we actually use two stronger magnets. There's one that you can see, and then there's another one underneath it, more directly under
And
the.
there's two reasons why we're using two. One
Right.
of the reasons is that way it locks more.
Yeah.
Is that way it doesn't spin backwards.
Right.
And the other reason is just because we need a winning indicator.
Yeah. And so this was like the final tweaks that we needed to do on the final build because we had the spacing right. We had the added benefit of the magnets tend to slow it down more, so you don't have to wait as long for an answer.
Yep.
Yeah. So I had a lot of fun on this project.
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to doing the next one, the electrical build, right?
Yep.
That's a little more in our wheelhouse.
Hmm.
All right.
Also because you are good at coding.
Well, a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, you think? Just a little bit?